Hi everyone, this is your daily tarot reading with me, Madhura. That was quick. Oof. Okay. So I feel like someone is not living their truth. Could be a Pisces or a Libra with the High Priestess and the Justice right here. Could also be a Capricorn involved because the Devil's right here. And the King of Pentacles. So it just Lovers reversed underneath the deck. So it's definitely some sort of a major breakup that has gone through, and it wasn't very easy. There was a lot of fighting. There was a lot of power struggle. I feel like there was a lot of egos that in, interfered. Uh, it's you feel betrayed by this person. Whoever this is, Capricorn, Pisces, Libra, or any other um, zodiac sign. These are just present here. Gemini with the Lovers. um, there was a betrayal of some kind. They stole from you. So they could have stolen your mental stability, your emotional health. um, It's just a very interesting journey. This one, it's a very complex one, I think, because I think in the lack of abundance in the form of love from someone else, I feel like there's been such a struggle right now, that you could have also ended up realizing your worth in the process. So what you deserve, you could have realized. This dynamic almost felt as if it repressed you a lot. You couldn't fully be yourself in this dynamic. All right. I feel like you had to constantly be put together. Um and there seems to be a sense of obsession, a codependency of a kind where you cannot um where your comfort wasn't necessarily prioritized. And I think the universe is saying that you thought of it as a either a twin flame or a soulmate relationship, but because the devil's present, the lovers is reversed, I feel like it was always a karmic relationship. And I feel like you just didn't see it necessarily, because it could also be that your soul just wanted to deal with this part of your karmic life, and just get it over with. But there is a sense of being at the other side of all of this. I feel like with the King of Pentacles and the High Priestess and Justice, I feel almost as if, even though this has made you so sad, I feel like in this context, this really sad person sees this green poison oozing out of these fallen cups. So even though there's a sense of emptiness, or there's a sense of just melancholia almost, not even just sadness, but deeper than that, there's a sense of loss here. I feel like, and it wasn't easy. It's not like this person just walked out of your relationship, and then you had to move on. I think there was a back and forth. There was a lot of sort of manipulating. You probably feel really manipulated in this process. Um, but I think you're with the Knight of Swords reversed, I feel like you seem sadder than you are deep within you. And I think the reason for that is it's more of a conventional loss. Like, it's more of a loss where um loss of something that others regard as important. Like others think you should be in a healthy, happy relationship, but I think you're okay. Like even with this amount of loss, even with this amount of just struggle, right? There was a struggle. There was someone who has the sense of winning something, but it's not a win. All right. Um, it's it was probably a relationship that looked good to other people, but it probably didn't treat you as wonderfully as you deserve to be treated in a relationship. Or this relationship probably made you doubt your intuition and doubt your um, perception of a particular situation instead of supporting you in that. Okay. And hence I think there was probably a lot of gaslighting in this relationship, is your emotions weren't really considered valid. Your hurt wasn't maybe considered valid. It could be because you decided to walk away from this person, and usually the person that walks away is not allowed to be sad at the end of a relationship. But that's not true. Just because you're walking away from something doesn't mean you didn't care for it, doesn't mean it doesn't hurt to walk away. If in that situation you decide to choose yourself over the other person, doesn't mean you didn't love the other person. It just means that you woke up at some point and you realize that you have a certain amount of worth that is not being, and love, in fact, like the amount that you gave you didn't receive back. So you just realized that you deserve better. Doesn't mean that there were no feelings there, there was no sense of um, just wanting to make this relationship work. Okay. Your last straw was walking away from this dynamic because you just couldn't be yourself in it, and finally you made the decision to choose yourself instead of the health of the other person or the comfort of the other person. And I think that's, in any situation, a really good choice, because if you don't exist, then whatever you think you are contributing to the dynamic doesn't exist either. Okay. That's when resentment starts building with more intensity, is when we can't be ourselves in a certain dynamic. So I think it's a really wise decision that you've made, and I know that it has been exhausting, or it has been just really tiring, right? It has just been like, I feel like sighing so much right now. I feel like I'm out of breath almost. And I think that's because this has been a really intense process. But I think you're at the other end of the bridge at this point. Let's see if I can find the next step. Oh, I don't know why I knocked. Get the next step for them. Okay, spend some time with yourself. Build a little den for yourself, a little cave where you can mark your boundaries and you can decide when people are showing up. Um, I think the universe is just asking you to surrender to it. Okay. I feel like you're trying to control too much right now, and I feel like that's your biggest obstacle. So one's fallen on the floor and the other's on the table. So let me get the one on the floor. Oof, the sun, the ace of swords. Okay. So it's, yeah, I think the universe is saying that um at the other end of surrenderance, genuine, just sort of taking the time to meditate, taking the time to take stock of how far you've come, and then from a place of gratitude, just letting go, just handing it over to a higher, bigger force, and letting them handle your business for right now. Just not expecting immediate gratification or immediate results of something, and just finding that patience, even in your sadness, even in as you deal with all your emotions and just all your sort of, how can you see how bent over this hermit is, how sort of like slouched over. He's tired, and all he can see um is the path right, right under his nose. Sorry, that took a long time to come together. But all he can see right now is what's right under his nose, and he's taking it one step at a time. And if you have to take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and just surrender instead of just sort of just trying hard and trying on your own and not even knowing what it is that you're fighting anymore. The struggle part happened, the manipulation part happened, but that's gone now. Okay, you have reached a position of justice, balance in some form of or another. Okay, you don't have to feel right now like you were avenged. Okay, just the universe is just saying that let just loosen the strings a little bit right now. And beyond that is the sun and the ace of swords, and the sun is just, it was the hardest card to get because it fell on the floor, so I had to bend down and then like just try to get it from where it had fallen, wherever it had fallen. But it just made me so happy as soon as I picked it up and turned it over. It was also face down, so it's not going to be the easiest thing to do. Like, okay, so I think that's what that indicates, that this ultimate happiness, the happiest card, the brightest card in the deck, it's probably not going to be the easiest to get right now. Okay, it's probably going to be, you're probably going to be met with a lot of obstacles on your way there. But as long as you can keep surrendering, as long as you can keep being kind, and as long as you can keep realizing that it's okay for you to mark your boundaries and take your space when you need it. Okay, may it be emotional, mental, or physical, but you have to take your space. All right, you have to unapologetically take your space, and you have to find the humility to sort of let go a little bit. Okay, not be so anxious about why things aren't going your way all the time, but sort of just hand it over to the universe and believe that there is something happening behind the scenes that you just don't have access to right now. Because as long as you can surrender, beyond that is the sun and the ace of swords. So it's a new energy, it's a new beginning, it's a bright new beginning, right? With the sun and the ace of swords falling out together, it's everything you've um, thought about, you've wanted to manifest, right? Everything you've intended for yourself um, is um, right at the other end of just genuine surrenderance and letting go. Okay, let's see what the angel card wants to tell us. Oh, creative project. Ace of swords. A new thought, a new something that will bring you closer to yourself. Okay, so if you are really anxious right now, and if you happen to be a creative person, or your profession is has something to do with creativity, I would highly recommend sort of going away. Okay, um, getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of your daily routine. I can't believe how much this divine door is spot on. Um, Go away if you can for a little bit. Okay, find your space somewhere where you wouldn't have ideally tried to find your space or explore. Um, if you can, if you have the funds, if you have the resources, if you know you can be safe while traveling, and after you get there, just, I just think the universe is saying get away from your regular space, get away from your routine, get away from people who would just sit there and just try to thrash out this. this whole situation with you over and over and over again. I think the universe is asking you to move away from that. Even people who are going to genuinely want to check in on you, not just people who are looking for gossip, but even if your loved ones and your friends are constantly calling you and checking up on you and being like, how's it going? Are you over it yet? How are you feeling? I mean, they could be extremely genuinely just trying to care for you, but at the same time what happens is that the whole trauma is re-triggered in you. Okay, so I think the universe is asking you to sort of get away from that, because beyond that are all the answers that you aren't necessarily able to access right now, because there's too much chaos around you. It could just be in your head, but there's too much you're living in too much chaos right now, and I think the universe is asking you to sort of get away physically from where you are at and find peace in another location if possible, of course. um, and then in that peace, sort of just start allowing these new thoughts to just pop in every once in a while, and hopefully sort of work on yourself and self growth, and just sort of putting all your energy into creating something that is going to help you um, dilute these triggers, these trauma triggers. um, and so basically productively distract yourself, um, and see if that helps, because I feel like that's where the answer is. Okay. I think with, especially with this card coming out, as I was talking about going away and traveling, I feel like definitely it is the message is to seek and explore, um, and get away from the same topics, the same people, even if no one's talking about it necessarily. Even meeting the same people, meeting common people can sort of trigger things. So I'm not saying sort of isolate yourself and like sulk in your own tears, but all I'm saying is sort of, if you've dealt with this enough, if you've tried to heal it enough, if you've talked about it enough, then it's okay to be done. You don't have to be emotionally over something to physically and intellectually sort of get it out of your space and then continue to heal emotionally, because that's never going to be linear. Okay. So yeah, that's what I have for you. It's a pretty long reading today, but I hope it helps. I hope it resonates. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.